What happens when television's most trusted mechanic vanishes without a trace? When the man who could fix anything couldn't fix his own career? This is the story of Ed China, a genius who walked away from millions of viewers, a global platform, and the show that made him famous. But what he built in the shadows, what he created when the cameras stopped rolling, will change everything you thought you knew about automotive engineering. They said he was finished. They said he'd lost his mind. But when they finally opened the doors to his secret workshop, what they discovered inside defied all logic. This is the untold story of Britain's most brilliant automotive mind, and the revolutionary machines he's been hiding from the world. The crack in the foundation. March 21, 2017. A date that would fracture the automotive world in ways no one could predict. Ed China sits in his workshop, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, his hands trembling slightly as he presses record on his camera. For 13 years, he's been the mechanical heart of wheeler dealers, the calm voice that could explain the most complex repairs with the patience of a master teacher. But today everything changes. "I'm afraid it's true," he says into the lens, his voice carrying the weight of a decision that will shock millions. "After 13 years of making wheeler dealers, I'm leaving the show." The video goes live. Within hours, the automotive internet explodes. Comments flood in, angry, confused, heartbroken. How could the man who made impossible repairs look effortless, simply walk away? But here's what the fans didn't know, what the industry insiders couldn't see. Ed China wasn't just leaving a television show. He was about to embark on the most dangerous experiment of his career. The cracks had been forming for months. During his segments, Ed would often break down complex and complicated procedures so the average viewer at home could follow along. But with that extreme detail came extreme production costs, and as producers looked to cut the costs of the show, Ed's segments were scheduled to be pared down. Picture this: you're Ed China. You've spent over a decade building your reputation on transparency, on showing viewers not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Every bolt, every procedure, every technical detail carefully explained so that someone in their garage at home could follow along. Now imagine being told, "That's too expensive, too time-consuming, too educational." The new production company had a different vision. Ed departed, at the time claiming the show's new production company Velocity wanted to reduce how much footage from the workshop was shown on screen. They wanted faster cuts, less explanation, more entertainment and less education. For Ed China, this wasn't just a creative difference. This was a betrayal of everything he stood for. But walking away from wheeler dealers meant more than leaving a paycheck behind. It meant abandoning a global platform that reached millions of viewers every week. It meant giving up the financial security of network television. It meant stepping into the unknown with nothing but his tools, his knowledge, and his unshakable belief that craftsmanship matters. The vanishing act. And then, silence. For nearly 8 months, Ed China disappeared from the public eye. No interviews, no appearances, no social media updates. The man who had been a constant presence in automotive media for over a decade simply vanished. Fans began to speculate. Forums buzzed with theories. Had he suffered a breakdown? Was he working on something in secret? Had the pressure of leaving wheeler dealers broken him? The truth was far more extraordinary. While the world wondered where Ed China had gone, he was locked away in his workshop, working 16-hour days on projects that would have seemed impossible even to his most devoted fans. This wasn't a retreat from engineering, it was a complete immersion into it. But Ed China's workshop isn't just any garage. It's a cathedral of mechanical innovation, a place where the impossible becomes routine. And during those 8 months of silence, he was pushing the boundaries of what one man could achieve. The workshop itself tells a story. Shelves lined with parts that don't exist in any catalog. Machines that shouldn't work, but do. Prototypes that blur the line between genius and madness. And in the center of it all, Ed China, working with the focused intensity of a man possessed. But here's what no one knew, what even his closest friends couldn't have imagined. Ed China wasn't just building machines during those months. He was building something far more dangerous, a reputation that would either revolutionize automotive engineering or destroy his career forever. The revelation. May 2018. Almost exactly 1 year after his departure from Wheeler Dealers, Ed China breaks his silence. But not with a press release or a television interview. He does it in the most Ed China way possible, with a simple YouTube video titled Garage Revival Episode 1. The concept is deceptively simple. Find people who have started car restoration projects but can't finish them. Help them get their dreams back on the road. But for those who truly understand Ed China's work, this series represents something far more profound. This is automotive therapy. Every stalled project tells a story of frustrated dreams, of ambition that exceeded ability, of passion that ran out of time or money or knowledge. Ed China isn't just fixing cars, he's fixing people's relationship with their mechanical dreams. The first episode features a VW Golf GTI that's been sitting in a garage for 3 years. The owner, a middle-aged teacher named Dave, walks Ed through the half-finished project with the defeated tone of someone who's given up on their dreams. But Ed China sees something different. He sees potential. He sees the ghost of what this car could become. Right, he says, rolling up his sleeves. Let's see what we're working with. What follows is pure Ed China magic. No dramatic music, no artificial deadlines, no corporate interference. Just a man, a car, and the quiet satisfaction of work done properly. But here's what made Garage Revival truly revolutionary. Ed China wasn't just showing how to fix cars, he was showing how to fix the relationship between humans and machines. Every explanation, every patient demonstration, every careful walkthrough of a complex procedure was a reminder that understanding your tools is the key to mastering your craft. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Comments poured in from around the world. Mechanics shared their own stalled projects. Enthusiasts asked technical questions. And slowly, quietly, Ed China began to rebuild not just cars, but a community. But Garage Revival was just the beginning. What Ed China was really working on, what he'd been developing during those months of silence, was something that would change everything. In April 2021, Ed China launched Workshop Diaries. And if Garage Revival was automotive therapy, Workshop Diaries was automotive revolution. For the first time, viewers were invited into Ed China's private world. His personal workshop, his experimental projects, his most ambitious ideas. The series will focus on the practical aspects of Ed's workshop life, reveling in the detail of the fixes and exploring old and new technologies. Covering a wide range of projects from classic cars to amphibious vehicles, tractors and bikes to planes, whatever takes their fancy. This wasn't just car repair. This was engineering education at its highest level. Ed China was showing viewers how to think like an engineer, how to approach problems systematically, how to innovate when existing solutions don't work. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. Because Ed China's workshop isn't just a place of creation, it's a place of danger. A place where the line between genius and catastrophe is measured in fractions of inches. Behind the organized chaos of his workshop, behind the carefully explained procedures and patient demonstrations, Ed China has been conducting experiments that would terrify most engineers. Projects that push the boundaries of physics, of safety, of sanity itself. And some of those experiments have gone horribly wrong. Innovation is never safe. Every breakthrough, every revolutionary idea, every leap forward in human understanding comes with a price. And Ed China has been paying that price in blood, sweat, and occasionally, fire. The workshop tells stories that Ed China never shares in his videos. Scorch marks on workbenches. Melted components in trash bins. The unmistakable smell of electrical failure that lingers in the air. Building tension. Because here's what separates Ed China from every other automotive YouTuber. He doesn't just restore cars. He invents them. He creates machines that have never existed before, that push the boundaries of what's possible, that challenge our understanding of what a vehicle can be. The sofa car. The motorized shopping trolley. The fastest toilet in the world. These aren't just publicity stunts, they're proof of concept vehicles for ideas that could revolutionize transportation itself. But innovation comes with risks. And Ed China has been taking risks that would make NASA engineers nervous. High voltage electrical systems, experimental battery technologies, gyroscopic stabilization systems that could either revolutionize personal transportation or kill their inventor. And according to those who've seen inside his workshop, some of those experiments have come dangerously close to doing exactly that. So who is Ed China really? Is he the calm, patient teacher we see on camera? Or is he something far more complex? A brilliant engineer walking a tightrope between genius and madness? The truth is both. Ed China is a man driven by an insatiable curiosity about how things work. Not just cars, but everything. Every mechanical system, every engineering problem, every impossible challenge becomes an irresistible puzzle to solve. This is what made him indispensable to wheeler dealers. This is what made his departure so devastating to fans. And this is what makes his current work so extraordinary. Ed China doesn't just fix things. He improves them. He asks, "What if?" and then spends months finding out. He looks at a broken machine and sees not just what it was, but what it could become. But there's a cost to this kind of thinking. The same mind that can envision revolutionary transportation systems is the same mind that can become obsessed with perfection, that can spend days solving a problem that normal people would simply accept. This is why Ed China walked away from wheeler dealers. Not because he was difficult or unreasonable, but because he couldn't compromise on the very thing that made him special, his commitment to understanding, to education, to showing people not just what to do, but why to do it. Today, Ed China continues his work. In April 2021, Ed China's Workshop Diaries premiered on Ed's personal YouTube channel, showing various projects in his personal workshop. But this isn't just about entertainment. This is about education, about inspiration, about showing a new generation of engineers that the impossible is just the difficult waiting for the right approach. Every episode of Workshop Diaries is a masterclass in problem solving. Every repair, every modification, every innovative solution is a lesson in engineering thinking. Ed China isn't just fixing cars, he's teaching people how to think like engineers. And the impact is measurable. Comments from viewers who've applied his techniques to their own projects. Engineers who've used his approaches to solve industrial problems. Students who've been inspired to pursue careers in engineering because of his patient explanations. This is Ed China's true legacy. Not the cars he's fixed or the records he's broken, but the minds he's opened to the possibilities of engineering. The curiosity he's sparked. The problems he's inspired people to solve. Because in the end, that's what engineering really is. It's not about having the right tools or the perfect workshop. It's about having the curiosity to ask, "How does this work?" and the persistence to find out. The Master's Workshop. Ed China's workshop is more than a garage. It's a temple to human ingenuity, a place where the impossible becomes routine, where problems are solved not with brute force but with understanding. Every tool has a story. Every machine serves a purpose. Every project, successful or failed, teaches a lesson about the nature of engineering itself. This is where the sofa car was born. Where the motorized shopping trolley took its first tentative steps. Where ideas that seem ridiculous at first glance are transformed into functioning, road-legal vehicles. But it's also where Ed China conducts his most dangerous experiments. Where he pushes the boundaries of what's safe, what's sane, what's possible. Because true innovation requires risk. It requires the willingness to fail, to try again, to push beyond the comfortable boundaries of what's been done before. And Ed China has never been comfortable with boundaries. The philosophy of mechanical perfection. What drives a man to spend 16 hours a day in a workshop? What compels someone to walk away from television success to pursue projects that most people would consider impossible? For Ed China, it's not about fame or money or recognition. It's about the pursuit of mechanical perfection. The belief that every problem has a solution, Every challenge has an answer, every impossible task is just waiting for the right approach. This philosophy permeates everything he does. From the simplest repair to the most complex fabrication, Ed China approaches each task with the same methodical precision, the same patient attention to detail, the same commitment to doing things right. It's what made him indispensable to wheeler dealers. It's what made his departure so shocking. And it's what makes his current work so extraordinary. Emotional turn. Because in a world of shortcuts and quick fixes, Ed China represents something increasingly rare, the belief that craftsmanship matters. That understanding is more valuable than speed. That the process is just as important as the result. This is why his videos resonate with millions of viewers. This is why engineers and mechanics around the world consider him a master. This is why his departure from mainstream television was such a profound loss to automotive education. The future of automotive innovation. Ed China isn't just fixing cars from the past. He's building the transportation systems of the future. Electric conversions, hybrid systems, alternative energy sources. His workshop is a laboratory for the automotive revolution that's coming. But unlike the sterile research facilities of major corporations, Ed China's innovations are grounded in real-world practicality. He's not just proving that something can be done, he's proving that it can be done by anyone with the right knowledge and the right tools. This is the democratization of automotive innovation. Ed China is showing that you don't need $1 billion budget or a team of PhDs to push the boundaries of what's possible. You just need curiosity, persistence, and the willingness to learn from failure. And perhaps most importantly, the courage to try. Ed China's story is far from over. In workshops around the world, inspired by his patient teaching and methodical approach, a new generation of engineers is learning that the impossible is just the difficult waiting for the right solution. They're converting classic cars to electric power. They're building custom vehicles that have never existed before. They're solving problems that textbooks say can't be solved. And they're doing it all with the same philosophy that Ed China has always embodied, that understanding is more valuable than speed, that craftsmanship matters, that every problem has a solution if you're willing to look for it. This is Ed China's true legacy. Not the cars he's fixed or the records he's broken, but the minds he's opened to the infinite possibilities of engineering. Because in the end, that's what engineering really is. It's not about having the perfect workshop or the most expensive tools. It's about having the curiosity to ask, how does this work? And the persistence to find out. It's about believing that the impossible is just the difficult waiting for the right approach. And in his workshop, surrounded by the tools of his trade and the ghosts of problems solved, Ed China continues his work, one bolt, one circuit, one impossible dream at a time. What do you think about Ed China's journey from television star to independent innovator? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold stories from the automotive world.